Hey there, Chocolate Muffin. We're going to go through some cool, interesting information regarding HEX and the PulseChain ecosystem. We might have to dream a bit bigger because I've come across information and I love to see the transparency about this. Now, firstly, what's most important is trending Bob Lazar. That's actually crazy. All right, so look at this. Here are the top 10 HEX dumpers based on USDC HEX net selling data from all three pools. Shout out to Ben Sierra for making this. Thank you very much, friends. I appreciate it. Oh, he follows me as well, Benny boy. Okay, sweet. So there is a lot of net selling here. These are the biggest accounts. Now, you're probably expecting some sort of FUD here. You're probably thinking, well, you know, the truth hurts. There's a lot of dumpers. It sucks. But it's not what you think. Because my original ideas of how much I thought could be extracted from a market in a bull market, it was much lower than what the real number is. What do I mean by that? Well, there's an amazing person who made TShareData.com. And if you go and click on the HEX symbol, you can go to all the HEX stats. Now, the one that's interesting to me that I want to use for this presentation for you, because you're a baby.chocolate muffin, is the HEX USDC liquidity. So we scroll down and what it is you can see how much USDC is in the pool. Now, if we zoom in, you can see at the very top of the market, it was, look at this number, it was around 30 million, 35 million, 34 million, 38 million. And then obviously it goes back down. So this is basically just a function of the price and the bull market. But what I'm interested in was seeing how much of it was in there in the top of the bull market. And you can see here is 34 million. Now it's down to like 272,000. I think the real number is like 1 million right now on eHEX. And we can go to Gerardo's website, lookintohex.com, which is another beautiful website. And we click on the liquidity section and we'll be able to see there's bids and offers here. And we're able to calculate these. Now, I'm sure, look at this. This has bid and ask. It has 9.2 million and then ask 8.9 million. I'm guessing this is including both eHEX and PHEX, which is pretty cool to see. I think the eHEX section by itself on Ethereum is only 1 million, somewhere around here. Now, the numbers are different because obviously of the split. There's PulseChain, all the liquidity is bonded, but we don't really need to go into the little nitty-gritties. What I want to go through is these total dumpers. So as we notice, right, I've been very harsh on Wallet DO1. Wallet DO1, a poopy horseman. Look, man, we're all in this together, friends. There's 130,000 of us in Copeland here. You need something to laugh about and joke about. Yeah, these people extracted a lot of money out of there, but it's not going to be a FUD session, friends, because this is a privilege. I'm going to repeat, this transparency is a privilege because we can see what's going on through the power of the blockchain. This will happen in Bitcoin and Ethereum and every other coin. It's just that no one's bothered out of their communities to calculate it. And sadly, you can't actually calculate it, Habib. You know why? Because they're on centralized exchanges. You have no idea what's going on. But with the beautiful transparency of DEXs, you can. So all these top 10 HEX dumpers, you can see on the right-hand side, it's net selling. Adds up to what, like $100 million. This is just the top 10 biggest dumpers people have extracted. There's all these addresses out here. Okay, so I'm going to go through and show you my comments. All right, so look at this. I explain. It's pretty wild to think that just 10 people have taken 100 million US dollars out of the liquidity pool, and the other 130,000 people are sitting anywhere from minus 50 to minus 95% on average. Crushed, okay? But just hold on, okay? Here I am to explain. This is probably the same data for all other coins out there, including Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's just that it's transparent to see. And please enjoy this nice HD quality little peppy picture out here in the woods. Little Russian dude in the background. I don't know what he's doing. This cute little dog here as well. We're enjoying this picture and this scenery. So here I am to continue, right? Also interesting. The top of HEX had 25 million to 30 million in the liquidity pool back in around August to December of 2021. That's this chart here. I know at the very, very tippy top, it was 46 million, but around the average here. So if we check the days here, it was around August, September. This was around the top. Kind of crazy, right? It's funny that we topped out in Now, I don't know, the numbers don't have to be too specific, but this was actually the top, right? This is actually the top. We had about 31 million in the liquidity pool, and somehow we had more money in the liquidity pool as the prices went down 48 million, and we're down to February 2022. So what's interesting to see is that what I was doing in my calculations was, this is me. I'm looking at the community, and I'm thinking, okay, there's about 150,000 people. How far can we grow? How high can we grow? How much money can people actually make? Because everyone out there we're all dreaming of $1 plus. We're dreaming of the big numbers. But the reality is, I was thinking, well, man, if there's only $34 million in the liquidity pool, then there's only like 15 million to be extracted. Because, by the way, when you get 15 million out, it's like the price is already down like 75%. That 15 million that gets extracted. But I mean, I was wrong. Well, no, I was really wrong. It's just that there's Euphoria volume coming in. So there's so much volume coming in of trading activity that people who exit slowly and people who slowly exit their position, they don't impact the price anywhere near that you would think. Because you would think if you just go to one point in time, you snapshot and you go, okay, there's 25 million here, therefore you can only dump $10 million worth. This is actually incorrect. Because we can see here from this data, I mean, just these guys was $100 million. Maybe it's not exactly 100, but you go down the list, maybe you add around $100 million. Now, that's enormous amount extracted out of the pool compared to what I thought. I mean, I was just thinking, oh, you could only get out like 15 million. Wrong. Look how much higher could be extracted along the whole way. 10 times more. 10 times more. That's big. It's very big. Like if you assume the whole average period, so not just that one snapshot point, you assume this period over time. Because what we want to do is, let's say BlackBerry is going to scam us. Let's say Bitcoin's not going to go as high as we think. Well, we know how high it can really go, right? Let's say we really do go to the cursed area, the triple top, and we get about an $80,000 Bitcoin. We're all thinking, man, only a few $1 million can get out. Everybody's thinking, what about BankX with all the EHEX? What about all the weak hands with the PHEX? What about all those stakers? What if? Well, looking at these numbers, it's bigger than we think. There's a lot of trading, hedging, people coming in, throwing money around, playing the narratives. There's a lot of circus activity that comes in, and it provides a bid out there for people to exit during this time. But it's very hard, friends, because look at this. September was here. This is September. This is like 50 cents hex right here. It peaks up here. But if we go down to just May, May is about, let's go around here. May is about 5 cents. See this area? 5 cents. And the liquidity here is 4.5 million. And then it goes up to about, 30 million. Now, this is just USDC. There was a couple of million extra in ETH, but not that much. So we did a 10x move and the liquidity went up. But look at this. If you were just looking, think about this, okay? If you're just looking at the 5 cents, you're seeing 5 million in the liquidity pool. Imagine I could tell you back in May 2021 that more than $100 million has been exiting. You would never believe it. You're like, $100 million? How? There's only 5 million in the liquidity pool. Well, it's just that, they've been dumping, of course, over time as well. They've dumping over here over time, but it's valuable information to see because people come in, people want to trade the narrative, and it really does share this insightful info because who makes it through this period? It's the buy and holders. That's why. All the people going in and out, all that trading back and forth, they're getting absorbed by people slowly exiting. And this happens in Bitcoin, in Ethereum, in everything else. So I think we can dream bigger. I think people believing in, okay, we're never going to go so high ever again. It's good to be skeptical, but look what happened in the past, man. Like this is just, it throws a spanner in the works here. Of course, we have to play devil's advocate again because we had QE and then infinite. We also had 0% rates. We had that, all right? We did have that. But I just want you to suspend belief, as I ask you to do, as my friend with a straight back. Just suspend belief for a second here and just imagine the world of Bitcoin, $80,000. Big world. So continuing on to my post, I mentioned, people have been buying heaps. So it's just 10 million extracted, $100, $150 million. A lot of people extract a lot of money out there. But think about this world, man. Think about the bull market. It's what we're all here for. If Bitcoin gets to 80,000 and Ethereum gets to like 8 or 9,000, that would be about 2.7 trillion market cap in the ecosystem. 2.7 trillion. So what I like to do is you can actually see the bids of that. Let's actually do the real number here. The liquidity, if you wanted to send everything to zero, like right then and there, just one day. Now, we know this is not real because the euphoria happens over like 1, 2, 3 months. So this is not accurate. There's a lot more money required to send something to zero. But if you had this imaginary fat finger, you send everything to zero, it would be about 5% of 2.7 trillion, and you have 135 billion-ish of liquidity out there. So think about this. HEX here, from its liquidity, extracted 10 times that small liquidity number that we thought. So we might find that if Bitcoin and Ethereum are doing these numbers, this is a lot of money. You might have to multiply this by like 5. Let's multiply this 135 billion by 5. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out, all right, of the people selling Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is all the fake maxis, everybody's saying Bitcoin's going to 1 million. Okay, you gotta live this with me. Okay, so we get up here, all right? We get up here. We get up to this zone, all right? What are a lot of people, influencers, going to be saying? They're going to be saying Bitcoin 100K, Bitcoin 300K, 500K. We're going to flip gold. The target's up here. They're going to say the target's up here. Don't look to sell. Don't click the sell button. Target's up there. We're going to go to $1 million. But during the time they're saying that, about $675 billion would be extracted through this whole period of time. Maybe not just one day, but this whole period of time. That's a lot of money that's being extracted. So think about that number. That's an enormous amount of money coming in. 675 billion. This isn't market cap, friends. This is actually real money. This is why it's huge. 675 billion. This is not imaginary like valuation times the quantity. No, this is actual real dollars. Like money put in, money put out, like real USDC. So if 675 billion in this world is being extracted here, I'd like to think it's possible HEX can get 0.5% of that, right? 0.5%. And 0.5% of that is about $3.3 billion. Huge, isn't it? It's very big. You might say as well, this is such a large number to go in through PulseChain and HEX. And you might be saying, well, this number's so big, I can't imagine it. I can't. Well, let me tell you a trick. Whenever I get to these scenarios, what I do is divide them by 10. Divide it by 10 and see how you feel. Or divide it by 3, around there, right? So we can go down to about 1 billion here. 1.0 billion, just write 1B. Now, I want you to think, how much did we extract in the HEX, what I said in the original post, right? You had about 100 million here. So if Bitcoin and Ethereum get to those numbers and there's all this money sloshing around and rotating, right? This is still 10x higher, man. You know what? You might even say, you know what? Divide it by 2 again. Divide it by 2, man. Just divide it by 2. Okay, I'll divide it by 2. 500 million. 500 million. Don't forget what we're starting with, man. Like, if Bitcoin and Ethereum are 675 billion, like, this is achievable. This is very achievable. I'd like to remind you that firstly, you're my friend. Secondly, PulseChain can do good volume numbers. Now, this is a very low volume weekend. Everything's being low, right? Even Ethereum does 1 billion per day. Look, it's only done 350 million per day here. BSC as well on the pooper, 192. A lot of it's fake. Base as well on the pooper. This is a lot of fake volume, by the way. It doesn't do 100 million. Solana, 6.4 million. So PulseChain has done 50% more volume than Solana. And Solana is 12 times higher in valuation. So these numbers are achievable, man. They really are achievable. But of course, we need a bull market. We're not doing it by ourselves. So, you know the original number. If we did like 100 million from the previous cycle, Is it out of the question to do like 500 million? I don't think so, man. I don't think so. And this all matches up. So we want to deal with numbers here. We want to deal with real numbers. What would this actually mean? And the answer might lie in the original HEX chart, because the valuation for HEX market cap around the top here was about 50 billion. How do you get that? About 100 billion coins, 100B times, and then you have 50 cents here. It was about 50 cents. So, you know, that's 50 billion, 50 billion valuation. So in this world of it happening, and I know everybody would be happy with this considering how low we are, this might involve my targets being met, which is total HEX gets back to 50 cents. All right, that's in this world. Now, what's the ratio going to be? I don't know. It could be EHEX, PHEX parity. I know a lot of people get upset at that. Oh, 25 cents each. You might believe in a world where 30 cents PHEX, 20 cents EHEX, whatever ratio you believe in. I don't really care. But you might then be a bit paranoid and skeptical of the valuations moving over to PulseChain and PulseX. But it is possible that Pulse and PulseX have the same valuation as that total HEX. This lines up with my original numbers. So what numbers were we actually looking for? It is all the numbers I used from the past. It is about, if you were to look at all the real numbers, it's about, just right here, you know, about 150B valuation, non-origin address. Okay. So for like just data purposes, science, friendship purposes, XRP, while being sniffed out by the clown SEC, XRP peaked at about 90 billion. 90B for XRP. All right. You know, 90 billion for XRP. But don't forget, that is Bitcoin at around 65K, 64K. So in a world where you're getting Bitcoin at 80K, so around plus 50%, and the world where Ethereum is not 5K, maybe it's 8, 9, or 10K, there's a lot more money sloshing around, and we have more guardrails out there that are on-ramping people on here, I don't think it's impossible for 150 billion valuation. Because, you know, we're going into the next cycle, Bitcoin and Ethereum are higher, but of course, to get this, you have to suspend belief. You actually have to believe that this party emoji is here for the greater good. And it's here to tell you that the SEC, it's just a narrative to reflect the candle, which a lot of people will gasp at. Their jaws will hit the floor. Because what I'm basically saying is this SEC is some sort of intergalactic demon force that's just here to paint the candle red. And the market pricing is going to remove it later on. What you're going to have to believe, though, is that we are more tied to the hip in this ecosystem, closer to Bitcoin and Ethereum's valuation, more than what the clown SEC, the corrupt SEC, and the corrupt Department of Injustice, the Department of Jelly Beans, the DOJ. That's what you're going to have to believe in. And I know it's very tough, man. I've got DMs every single day, people saying like, man, I want to buy, but man, I just can't. I'm in fear, too much fear. What if everyone gets arrested, all the doors get kicked down? Look, I just want to tell you, man, Trayvon took a hit for everyone, man. They locked him in jail for 2 days. He didn't squeal. He's like, what are you talking about? It's not a security. You couldn't get someone like Trayvon to tell you it's not a security? Bro, you're not a security. So it's just something to think about. I know I sound like some sort of rogue maverick here, like a warrior, just shouting out to the lands, telling you like, don't worry about him. Don't worry. But, you know, I know what it's like to be on the other side, because I was listening to this stuff years ago, and what do all these influencers say? Don't worry, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I know it's very hard. It's very hard to wrestle this information. But those numbers that we're dealing with, 150 billion valuation, I think they're pretty good. From here, you can go look at the total Richard Heart ecosystem non-origin address market cap, and it's very, very low. It's about 1.8 billion. Okay, it's 1.8 billion. So if you want to get to 150 billion from here, you'll divide that by 1.8 and you get about an 83x. for the whole ecosystem. So what does that mean? That means, effectively, that means Pulse from here does an 83x. PulseX does an 83x. Both combined HEX, that's EHEX and PHEX, does an 83x. You know, by the way, friends, just to let you know, this chart, got to remind you, has EHEX on here. It's just easier for me to just share it with you in one chart. This is EHEX and PHEX, they're together. So everything doing an 80x from here, 83x, it does line up as a possibility. And you do have a world where all these people with this quantity of money, it's able to efficiently get extracted. Now, I know it sounds kind of crude because you're like, well, that means you need more people to come in and people are going to dump. Yeah, but that's the whole game, man. That's the whole game. How do you think Bitcoin got up here? Well, you think F2 pool, the Chinese scum miners, they were dumping like 50,000 Bitcoin up here because they knew China was going to ban Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Everyone's playing the game everywhere. This is just what public markets are. You're playing a game. And the game is you got to last to the ends of time. You got to believe that when you get in, you're a sucker. You're a sucker in every single point until Euphoria comes. So there you have it, man. Achieving high HEX numbers, Pulse and PulseX, as I've shown you, it's not impossible. All right. But like I've got to mention here, it can't happen in a vacuum. It does require a crypto-wide bull market resurrection. And, you know, I wish I could give you more concrete numbers, but you know that 80x, friends, 80x, whatever it is. Look, if you really want, so that's 150 billion non-origin address valuation. In these times, if you really want to protect yourself, I'm using conservative, realistic numbers, just divide it by 3. All right, just divide it by 3. But then you get a pretty poopy valuation. You get 50 billion. So effectively, your bags here, divide 83 by 3. You get like a 27x everywhere. I know that sucks because that's only, for PulseX, that's only a 2.7x above day one sack. Right, it lands up here, 0.0027. But remember, I've just given you a very low conservative estimate. And don't forget, man, we're dealing with all these other large cap altcoins, right? So you can think all you want, 27x sucks. But let me tell you, you think 27x sucks? How bad do you think it's going to feel for Bitcoiners buying in now when all they've done is a 3x and they're not going to get out? They're not getting out here, Habibi Albi. They are not getting out at $80,000. You did not buy Bitcoin to sell at $80,000. No one did. You did not buy Ethereum to sell at $7,000, $8,000. No, you didn't. You're selling it at the flippening, which you hope comes. You're selling it at $10,000, $20,000. You're selling it never. That's when you're selling it. You're basically never selling it. These big blue chip assets. They're for these big industrial type, big size clips who don't want to play the game any harder, any longer with these growing network effects that we're dealing with. And that's just the big blue chips. The big other altcoin layer ones, I'm sorry, bro, they're not doing 27x. This is XRP. 27x puts it at $13.50. This is BNB, Binance Coin. 27x puts it at $5,870. Like it's right now, it's $210. This is Cardano. 27x puts it at $7.50. And Chainlink, 27x puts it at $173. Now, Chainlink's got a unique niche case. It's got the bug eaters on its side. I can see it happening. That's why I have it. But most coins, I can't see it happening. And I promise you, I go to sleep every night wishing I'm wrong. I'm like, man, I just want to see them go up to the very, very top. But this is the game we're dealing with. What I like about these valuations is HEX has 50 cents up here. When we get up here, if Pulse and PulseX and PHEX being liquidity bonded follows EHEX towards the total HEX price towards the top, I think it's a very, very handsome reward, even in the super conservative world compared to everything else. Don't forget, a lot of the things can line up. A lot of money can get extracted. Everything can be fine in terms of like handling all that excess supply out there. So let me know what you think, friends. And of course, keep your back straight, keep your fluffy slippers on, enjoy this peppy. Don't forget, like, subscribe, bell button, all. Tell mum and dad we love and appreciate them, and catch you in the next one.